You are listening to the Vassals of Kingsgrave, Korra edition for episode 4, season 2, Civil Wars, part 2. This is Katie.
This is Michal.
And this is Stephanie.
So we are absent Amin tonight, so it's just the harem this time around. We decided to throw together an impromptu recording session for the second part of Civil Wars. And as I was just telling Stephanie, as with every episode this season, I liked it a lot better the second time around, because the first time around, I was plastered and really confused and baffled.
Katie, I just have a question. Maybe don't watch them drunk.
Sometimes it makes it so much better, but this time, there was a point when Varric told Zuli to poop out the money for people on the street, and it was like, what am I watching? What am I drinking? I was so confused. So, first time around, I was prepared to give this episode like a 1.5 or a 2. I was not whelmed is a good way to put it. I was just whelmed by it. But second time around, I started to appreciate some little things about it and felt a lot more cohesion. So I'll round it up and give it a 3 out of 5.
For me, this was actually, I thought, I do need to watch it again, but I liked it a lot better this time. I liked this week a lot better than last week. I thought the episode just had more energy to it. And, last week we were talking about how it seemed like the scenes were moving fast, but the story was moving slow. Like, this week it seemed a little bit better paced to me. And I felt like the Tenzin stuff wasn't as... Like, I was really interested in the Tenzin stuff last week, but it might have slowed the story down a little bit. And this week it was much more of a B plot. It was just kind of like the scenes that happened, and you weren't necessarily like thinking about them while everything else was going on. So, I don't know, maybe a 3.75, something like that.
Yeah, I'd give it like a 3.5 or a 4. I don't know, it was definitely, I think, better than last week's episode.
It's a very meat and potatoes episode. I feel like it would be, like, at the end of the season, it'll be, like, at the bottom of the roster in terms of episodes that people remember vividly. But did anyone else notice that the animation was kind of stiff?
Yeah.
I don't know.
The voice acting continues to bother me. I don't know why, but...
I imagine that, like, maybe it's just the placement of it in the season, that maybe they probably skimped on budget so that they could dump it in episodes that were more deserving of it later on. But I was reading the AV Club review for the episode. They gave it a B-, which was better than the C+ that they gave last week's episode. But the entire article, or the entire review, was just about the fact that the reviewer had finally pinpointed what had been bothering him about the animation from Studio Pierrot, and he's like, nobody blinks. He's like, if you go back to the first season, or Avatar The Last Airbender, he said there was a lot more nuance in the facial animations. People blinked all the time. And he's like, if you watch really closely in this new season of Korra, nobody blinks. And it makes everything feel strangely stiff and inhibited. And so when I watched it again the second time, I can't pay attention anymore because all I can stick... I'm just watching the characters, and he's right. Nobody blinks anymore, and sometimes, like, entire conversations are carried out. It feels like very filler episode of anime where just the mouth is moving and everyone's just standing very still and talking. And I'm not used to seeing that from an Avatar show. And some other stuff just felt, like I had it was the moment when Naga rams herself into the car, and it just looked strange and a little wooden. I don't know, and part of me is like, if the animation had been on par with what it usually is, I feel like I would have given it a higher episode, but because everything was so weak and the animation was weak, it dragged my opinion down even further.
I think we're all thrown by it, honestly. I don't know if it's necessarily the blinking or if it's, I don't know exactly what it is, because there are some things that Studio Pierrot does beautifully. I thought the the airplane stuff was really well done.
Yeah.
But I do think that everyone is, like, almost maybe on a subconscious level. Like, it's like, this is not the same. And it's, I'm interested, actually, Stephanie, what you meant when you said that the voice acting is bothering you, because it's been a little off for me at the beginning, but I thought this episode was pretty good.
Oh, it's been off for me since the premiere of the first episode of the new season, it's just like it kind of bothered me like in the first two episodes of book one as well. But I thought, but that was just me just having to get used to like Janet Varney's voice and then just like the other actors.
Hmm.
But so I figured that this was what was happening this time around too, but apparently it's not. And it's either like the dialogue or the voice acting or both. I'm just not like feeling it either way.
Any characters specifically?
Uh, Not really. Just it feels the entire thing kind of feels like wooden or like rushed or something.
There's been a few times where the delivery has not landed just because the inflection was wrong, or you could tell that like the actors were not recording together.
Yeah.
Like in the first or the second episode, Korra's talking to her dad, and I forget, like he says something about you're the bridge between the spiritual and the physical world, and then Korra says those exact words like a couple seconds later in the exact same inflection, and it felt almost cringeworthy. It was like clearly we're in the same booth when they were doing that dialogue. But other than that, though, like nothing has popped out at me as being terrible. I haven't like there's moments where I really like Eska's voice actress and other parts where I'm like, I'm not sure I'm into this.
Oh, I'm just not feeling her voice actress at all.
Mm.
I'm not a Parks and Recreation person, so that might be it. But like, I'm just not feeling it. I get
I
that they're supposed to be creepy androgynous twins who are kind of like May, but
they're not like May.
Yeah,
sorry.
they're really not.
I know, but it's more like the deadpan, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but May was always saying something when she was saying something,
Fair
you
enough.
know.
And
But
she got
I,
a lot across in her deadpan.
yeah.
I feel like when the twins talk, they're not saying anything.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, and I don't think that's the actor's fault, honestly. And I don't actually think it's a flaw in the writing either. I don't think that they're supposed to be saying anything.
Right.
And something that I've been thinking about a lot with Desna and Eska is that we had so much time to write their story ourselves because we didn't know anything about them, you know, when they showed us the pictures at last Comic-Con, and you know, it was like, okay, these are Korra's cousins. And then we got a teeny bit more information, and we kind of I guess I'm talking about why I was initially disappointed that they were kind of, you know, gag characters and a little bit consistently flat as opposed to having more range within that flatness. But I've kind of come to accept that like this is just the way that they've conceived the characters, at least for now.
Uh-huh.
And I mean, I'm okay with that because I kind of looked at it in my head and I was like, well, obviously like I would prefer them to be deep, but like there are some things that I'm disappointed in that I would probably not be happy with, even if I hadn't been anticipating this for a long time. But Desna and Eska are not one of those because they're very marginal characters.
Yeah.
And I mean, honestly, I'd never heard of Aubrey Plaza before she got cast in Korra. So, I don't know. I mean,
Yeah, I've
I
never
think her
seen
voice
Parks
is
and
just
Rec,
very
so.
personal. I know I haven't seen it either, but it's probably just a very personal thing. You know, it's definitely distinct.
Right.
I see. I don't have that issue because I just didn't really care about Korra's creepy cousin twins until they started coming in, or
Mm.
until like I actually like saw the episode. I just like didn't really care or get why people were making all these like stories about them before then. I'm just like, okay, whatever floats your boat. But then,
Well, I think you're right, Michal. Once you kind of accept that they're marginal characters, it's a lot easier to, forget any initial disappointment, as opposed to Varric, who just he doesn't have that many layers. I mean, he's not an outstandingly dynamic character, but at least he's interesting, and he's part of the main plot, which is surprising. It's engaging.
Yeah, he's a very pleasant surprise for me because I wasn't that keen on him in the first episode, and I was very surprised that he has as much going on as he does,
Mm-hmm.
including being evil. I
Is
still
he?
think he's the big bad.
What did he say? No. He did, I thought he said something that could be partial foreshadowing this episode, but I can't remember. I should have written it down.
He's just very cavalier. Like he arranged the meeting, you know, and then he's like, oh yeah, whatever, I'll just hide, and all those other people will, you know, get caught for it. Like obviously, Unalaq didn't really care because the whole point was to get Tonrak thrown in forever prison or whatever. But you know, I think he's like the stuff that he's doing is dark. Like even if it's funny, it's very morally uncomfortable. Like the way he treats Julie, like I find it hilarious and I love it and I want her to be president of everything. But I just it makes me a little bit squeamish, and I think it's supposed to, or in like that way that like 99% of you is just like ha ha ha, and then 1% is like what,
I mean, he has so much money, he can do whatever he wants. He can. I mean, if you want to go really dark, he's completely complicit in the fact that those men were going to be executed.
Yeah.
And he instead, what does he do? He hides in a platypus bear for the entire episode, and then he runs away, basically telling Bolin that he built a boat so that he could get away from his lovers that he doesn't want anymore. But you're right, that's interesting. If he does turn out to be evil, then sure, why not? Wasn't there there was a rumor going around Tumblr that like one of the voice actors had given away that there was going to be a secondary or a bigger antagonist halfway through the season that would be surprising.
Well, there must be. I mean,
it can't be Unalaq.
I wonder if it's the Republic City president.
I hope not. I don't think he's supposed to be good given the episode description for next week, or like helpful, but I hope he's not evil, because like we had the whole like evil politician last season.
What is the episode description for next week?
I have it somewhere. Hang on.
Okay.
But something I was thinking though is that I was really, really like happy for them and proud and whatever of the Mike and Brian, that they didn't do like the same old stuff that they've something last season that everybody was like, oh great, Korra's gonna learn the elements again, and everybody was on board for that for those like 2 minutes that was a possibility at the end of the finale, and then they were like, no, we didn't want to do that, we want to do something fresh. And I'm like, yeah, but now you have the same Water Tribe villain basically, and you guys know me, I'm trying to give this show as much of the benefit of the doubt as I possibly can, but there aren't that many differences between, I mean, there's a difference for Korra in that she's related to him and he's spiritual, but like in terms of like the function he serves in the story, Unalaq is uncomfortably similar to Tarlok, I think.
Yeah,
and that pisses me off.
Yeah, then I'll have to play devil's advocate and say that Korra never really trusted Tarlok.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah, she gives Unalaq a lot more benefit of the doubt on the basis that he's her uncle. She should be supposed to trust him, whereas I think she was always onto Tarlok's game. She just got into it because they had similar goals. But yeah, I noticed that when they're breaking, or when they go to break her dad out of the prison and they're fighting Unalaq, she does an air punch that sends, I almost said Tarlok, that sends Unalaq, sends him flying back, slides, and then hits a wall, and it's almost beat for beat the same action as when she defeats Amon. And
it's the same kind of corridor also. It's like that kind of...
And I think that's intentional. I think, whereas the first time she beat Amon, it was a complete fluke. She didn't know that she'd be able to airbend. This time, it's like, yeah, I can airbend, so I'm going to kick your ass, just like I did that last punk that stood up to me. And so little things like that I can see are beneficial for Korra's character, but in terms of the villains, yeah, I'm not terribly interested, just because there is so much familiarity with the way the first season went.
Well, so maybe this is similar, maybe it's different, but the episode description for next week, sorry if anyone counts this as a spoiler, but the episode is called Peacekeepers, and the summary says, when the president of the United Republic refuses to help Korra, she decides to take matters into her own hands for a change.
I like that, because so far it's only been like Tonrak saying you have to go and treat with him, and then earlier it was Tenzin who called in the United Forces and it's like you have to wait for him. So Korra has made a lot of her own decisions within like the start of book 1 and now, but like her actually like not waiting for like that. So
she doesn't have a mentor hovering over her unless Len steps in, but I think that's one of the big differences is with Aang, he had Sokka and Katara, but they were his peers. They weren't his master. Well, Katara was a master, but she was still his peer. She wasn't his mentor in the strictest sense of the word, whereas Korra has all these mentors who are sheltering her and trying to guide her, and it's hard sometimes to find her agency where you want it to be.
Well, that's something that frustrates me too, because this just occurred to me, but that Korra was finally like figuring out how to be diplomatic, and she wasted it all on Unalaq.
Seriously.
Well, I don't know what's diplomatic about threatening to murder someone twice in one episode.
I guess we should maybe talk about the actual episode now.
Yeah, we've been talking around it, but I gasped out loud when she said, "If you take their lives, I'll take your life." Because it was said so on the sleeve and just spontaneously and almost casually in the way it was delivered. It's like, oh my god, she just told the dude she was gonna murder him straight up. And I mean, I don't know why that shocked me so much because I think, Mihal, you texted me while you were watching and you said, did they just say the word death? You know, we sentence them to death. You know, they're not even skipping around it the way they usually do. And then, you know, she goes completely Jack Bauer on the guy and hunts him down and forces his head into a polar bear dog. I mean, she wasn't playing around. In my head, I could hear people on Tumblr complain, but I was like, no, this is what Korra does. When someone threatens to take her dad away for her, she hunts them down and she gets to the bottom of what's going on. I was proud, if a little side eye about it, but
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Oh
on the
man,
one
that was a
hand,
great shot of Naga just snarling from like the passenger from the inside of the car though when she opens the door. I love that shot.
well, she could have tried to bloodbend him,
yeah.
and
I wonder if she'll ever get to that point.
I feel like this would have been it. I mean,
Yeah.
and I don't blame her. I mean, like her dad is going to die, you know. But yeah, I mean, what struck me most about that was that yeah, we had Naga last season intimidating Tano and whatever and roaring, but like, and I guess maybe knocking the lieutenant out of the air, but this was like, oh, that's like a 450-pound polar bear, you know, and it was like that plushie that you have in your room, that thing could eat someone. And it was a really interesting choice, I thought. I mean, on the one hand, it seemed like a teeny bit childish, and on the other hand, I was like, no, they're actually like destroying the childish element in a little bit because they're using Naga in a legitimately violent way against someone who has no way to defend himself.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't even look like this guy's a bender, otherwise he would have, you know, tried to bend.
I don't think she would have actually gone through with it if he had resisted it anyway.
No, probably not, but it was an intense scene, you know,
Yeah.
and I mean, Naga might have just gone for it anyway. I don't know.
Oh, ooh, that was bad. I was a little, or a lot disappointed that it's like, oh, by the way, he conveniently knows that Unalaq also set up Tonrak to get banished from the Northern Wada tribe. How many years ago?
I was
Yeah.
very disappointed about that.
It's like, way to drop that bomb, and I could have done without that piece of information. Because it takes away a lot of the shadings of Unalaq as a character. Like, oh, I guess you were just an asshole from the start.
Right. Like it's not, I mean, first of all, we've seen it before. Like
Mm-mm.
now it actually is the plot of Thor. The only saving grace to me was that they didn't make a huge deal about it. Like I was anticipating, you know, a whole other flashback where we saw, you know, Unalaq's side of the evil story, and thankfully they didn't do that. They were just like, no, he's the bad guy. But yeah, like at least I couldn't believe he even called the stupid barbarians. Like for Pete's sake, let one part of this be legitimate. Like, you
Yeah.
know, he didn't take advantage of anything. He was just manufacturing the whole thing. It was very like, it just occurred to me like people think that he's being, you know, spirit controlled or whatever, and which I could get behind that idea, but if he's been bad all the way back to you know, that point in time, then I don't think that, you know, being controlled by spirits is going to be that much of a saving grace for him.
I was hoping that have him not call in the barbarians, have Tonrak, you know, just mess up the forest, and that's the point where Unalaq says, okay, my brother's an idiot. He has no concern for spiritual dwellings. Then he calls in the spirits to make a point and has his brother exiled. So then he's making a judgment. I mean, he's making a shitty call, but he's making a judgment call based on his brother's actions instead of, you know, forcing Tonrak to look like an idiot. Whatever.
I mean,
He's
like I guess this was probably even written around, well, no, maybe not. I don't know. Because I mean it is Thor. Like that's actually what it is. So like it was obviously taken from Thor. So I'm just trying to wonder like how
they went to Thor and thought it was awesome and said, we got to do this.
yeah, I don't know if it was that much more complicated, you know. But I mean, the interesting thing to me is, and maybe this is going too broad again, but we're on episode 4, and like we've already identified a huge villain. We've had a civil war. We've like so much has happened, and not in the kind of way that so much happened by episode 4 of last season. This is like, how many stories are they trying to tell in this season? I'm part of me thinks that the second half, that presumably takes place in the spirit world and was animated by Mir and everything, is going to be where the season really comes back to its own. I hope.
Yeah,
And I don't hate it. It's just something feels different, and I don't know exactly what that is.
It's like the focus is really nebulous right now because, okay, we're going back to Republic City. We just finished Act 1. 4 episodes out of 14, with 2 being a flashback to 1. Effectively, it's done with Act 1. We're into Act 2. We're having a major scenery shift. And so I have to, since we're leaving all this Water Tribe stuff in the background, like, where's the focus for the rest of the show? Is it just going to be trying to unify the tribes or open the northern, whatever the fuck?
Yeah, and then Unalaq's like, what about the northern portal? Because then Unalaq's just like, no, I don't need you after all.
I don't even know because I can't care about it. I don't know what it means. Like, so
Yeah.
if they open both the portals, okay, we have a transport. We don't know why that would be beneficial. I mean, we could make trading a lot easier. I don't know, but it hasn't been made to seem as if it's something that's necessary. It's just something that seems like a neat idea, and that's why we should do it.
Right.
Yeah, I
It's
completely agree with you. It's just like, huh.
It's neat.
Yeah. If there was like a plague or something and they really needed medicine or something like that, and
Or you could, there's spirit attacks out in the ocean. We can't get boats anywhere to trade. We need to open the portal so people can have food. That's something that you could work into what's going on. But now it's words on a page about spirit. Like, I feel like even the spirits themselves are really ill-defined. I mean, we know.
haven't seen one in feels like forever. It was 2 episodes, but whatever.
But all this talk about dark spirits coming in and because people do bad things, I was like, is that? I don't remember that being canonical. Like, in Avatar, Hybe got mad because people were messing up the forest, but does that make him a dark spirit? I don't know. I feel like the exposition has been woven in as skillfully as it needs to be for us to have an investment, and I'm getting kind of frustrated about it because, come on, guys, I know you're better. Take us where we need to go, and hopefully when we get into Act 2, it'll pay off in some way, and we'll just look back on all this and say, oh, it was all leading where it needed to go. We just couldn't see the end of the road.
I hope so.
Other than that, Tenzin, I agree with you, Mihal. It felt a little flimsier than last week's big blowout between the siblings, but I did really like the scene with Boomy talking to the statue. It's so good. It was so simple, but I felt like you got a lot about his character in that. I'm sorry, I couldn't be an airbender like you hoped. I mean, even if Aang never felt that way, it's clear that his kid felt that way growing up. Like, oh, maybe my parents had more children because I wasn't good enough. I was a non.
Well, all firstborns feel that way, so I say as a firstborn. So
I'm the youngest, so I have no.
Oh, I'm the middle child.
Oh, you're the Stannis of your family.
Yes.
Does that make me the Robert?
I guess I'm the Renly.
This is a strange path. No, but what actually like touched me the most in Boomy's speech was how he said that he joined the United Forces to help the world. Like that he tried to help the world because we still see, Boomy is very flighty and very like, oh my god, he laughs at the word duty and, blah, blah, blah. But I thought that put it into a perspective that was like, that I understood why he wanted to go that way and why he would try hard, because I could see him being a total bum,
Yeah.
But like why he wanted to make a mark on the world and, and I feel like that really struck a chord with me. I also liked at the end that they weren't like, oh, it's all okay, Dad loved us all the same. It was, they were like, no, we came to a place where we're not blaming Tenzin for the angst that we have against Aang.
Right.
And while it still makes me, like, my heart hurt because I want Aang's spirit to come down and explain it all to them, even though I don't want that, but I sort of do. It seemed a lot, like I didn't feel like that scene was, like, emotionally shoehorning anything in that wasn't fair.
I was concerned until you said that, Mihal. I was very concerned that it was like they set up a problem last episode and they finished it in this episode in a really clean way. And then, oh, look at our family photo. Weren't we happy? Yeah, we're happy. Everyone's happy together. And I think you're right in that they frame it in, what does Kaya say? Like, our frustrations with Dad, we took them out on you. And those frustrations, I think, still exist and are very natural to being any child of any parent. And so hopefully, I don't know, now that they've taken the heat off Tenzin, maybe I don't know where this dynamic is going. I would have preferred maybe to drag it out a little longer so it didn't feel so bowed at the end.
Yeah. I mean, I'm okay with it because I don't anticipate that they'll be okay. Like, I feel like they'll probably be bickering again the next time we see them. Maybe not as quite to the bone as they were last episode, but I think that, there's still siblings, there's still issues there. But yeah, that moment was, yeah, definitely worked for me. And I like that Kaya wasn't, when she was watching Boomy, she wasn't like, it wasn't like a moment of revelation, it was just a moment of, like, reflection.
I feel like they're closer to each other than they are with Tenzin, which is nice and makes me a little sad. That's alright. I like Kaya a lot of the three. She's probably my favorite right now.
I'm just waiting to see what her special relationship with Jinora is.
I forgot about that. Maybe that'll be next episode. Maybe Jinora will finally tell someone that she saw a statue glowing in the Avatar statue room.
Yeah.
Apparently she forgot about that. Maybe I just have a thing for middle daughters now, because if I had to pick the lesser of three evils, he is now my favorite. Because they gave her some shading, which was unexpected, because she was mostly, like, all the kids, up until this season, we're kind of one note. Jinora, she's the bookish one, Milo, he's the farting one, and then Iki's the fast-talking one. And in this one, they gave her a chance to be quiet and a chance to be kind of sad, and I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was expecting it to be a little more dramatic, the revelation of where she was, but I was glad that it was okay that like she wasn't. I mean, I was a little confused about the timing, because it seemed like when, like, last episode, when they all split up, it was like evening, right? And then he finds her and it's like morning.
She's been out all night, yeah.
She has. Okay. So what bothered me about that, and I guess still slightly bothers me, is that if anyone in my family was missing overnight, much less a child, there would have been, avalanches.
Yeah.
So
I was thinking that too. I was like, he's awfully calm for a child who's run out into what is essentially like freezing mountains with presumably animals that could eat her. She could fall down a cliff or fall out of the sky and break her neck, and he's just like, oh, thank goodness, you're in a cave. Like, if my child was spending the night in a cave, I'd be freaked. Are you joking?
Yeah.
I did have that thought, that they were all a little bit too calm. They should have sent, like, why aren't the Acolytes helping? Why isn't there a search party?
The Acolytes are assholes.
Yeah, I mean, it's okay. I mean, Iki was just tea partying hard with the bison. So good.
That was so cute. I think my jaw dropped.
Are those like Oogie's babies, or are they just like random baby bison who live at the air temple?
I guess so. Aren't they? I forget if it was like last season where in the information for the website information it said that Aang had found like a new herd or something. More bison. They have different stripes, I think.
Yeah, no, they have the same stripes as Oogie. I think all the new bison have those stripes just because I guess Appa was the last of his herd.
And he's hella dead.
Yeah.
You have no heart.
No, Oogie's dead too. I mean, the Equalists euthanized him, when they captured Tenzin. I think that was a memes theory.
Yeah. Are you guys bronies? I'm not.
No.
No, I'm not. I think the correct term for female fans of that is Pegasisters anyway.
Pegasisters? Oh, okay.
I don't even know. I don't watch that show, but that's what I've heard.
Okay, well,
Don't quote me on it.
I had a student this summer whose name ironically was Pema, and she was obsessed with My Little Pony, and I learned quite a bit about it over the week that I taught her. And she was just giving me all these names like Princess Sparkle and Twilight and blah blah blah, and as these names of the Sky Bison came in, and I was like, oh, I've heard that before. I mean, not, but sort of.
Blueberry Spice Head.
Yes.
What's a spice head? I didn't understand.
I don't know. I actually think the woman who worked on that show has something to do with Korra. I'm not sure though. Like the director, I mean, not like some random woman, but like, yeah.
Oh, something that somebody pointed out online that I thought was maybe intentional, maybe not, but considering how long, these episodes are worked on, might have been intentional, was the scene where Korra comforts her mother, which I really liked, when her mom is crying and she says, I hate being so helpless. You kind of flash back mentally to the 4th episode of the first season where Amon traumatizes her and she's crying to Tenzin, who's holding her, and she says, I felt so helpless. And in this case, it's her mother who's completely helpless, and that's when she makes her decision, fuck this, I'm not going to be helpless, I'm going to go tear the door off this guy's car. And I thought that was actually pretty great, and I feel like intentional, even if it's on a really low level of transmission to the audience.
Yeah, I mean, I have to say, like, I've been kind of arguing against people who have been upset with Korra's characterization so far, but for me, it really, I think they've done this very well. It's all come down to her feeling helpless. Like, Korra cannot feel helpless. When she feels helpless, she does incredibly stupid things, or anyway, she doesn't think, and sometimes that leads her to do very stupid things. Like like with her dad, like that was actually not stupid because that was considered. That was something that she had a plan for, and she had it was righteous, whatever. But her actions from the beginning of the season, when she is listening to Unalaq and Tenzin talk about her, Tonrak and Tenzin talk about her, that inspires her to feel helpless, and that's when she tells Tenzin to go fuck off, and she goes with Unalaq. It's the same thing why she was so mad at her father. It's a very clear character line, and I really like that because I don't identify that much with Korra on a personality level, but I think that that's pretty universal. Like that fear of being helpless is something that everyone can relate to, and I don't get why people don't understand.
I feel like, and maybe I'm taking it to a level it wasn't intended, but I identify with Korra a lot, and older men talking over you can be extremely infuriating. And I mean, the gendered aspect of it isn't as prevalent in Korra's world. It seems to be, in most cases, pretty gender neutral. But it's like if I was a teenage girl and I was being talked over by adult men, I would be pissed off all the time. Oh, but shit. We were talking about this, Mihal, what was...
Yes, Crazy Girlfriend.
Crazy Girlfriend! Okay, it didn't distract me or bother me, like I should preface that, but I felt it for the first time that there was like a gendered element to the writing, and it's done for a gag when, Varric is telling Bolin about how to deal with his crazy girlfriend, and Bolin says it again later. And it's this feeling that, okay, they're making a gag about Eska because she's scary and she's intimidating, but they're not really challenging it. And I feel like we're supposed to agree with them when they say it. And I really, really didn't like it. Like you said, Mihal, it's like 99% of it I'm laughing along with them, but then that 1% I'm just like, no, I feel like this is two grown men elbowing each other in a back room. Crazy women, crazy girlfriends.
Yeah.
I did agree with Lord Barrick. I think that was his name on the forums when he said that.
Yeah, I mean, it's not that I disagree, because that did stand out to me too. I don't know. I feel like we're not supposed. I mean, this is also coming from my opinion of Varric, but like I feel like we're not supposed to take his opinion seriously.
Right.
And I don't know. I mean, like it doesn't stuff that is specific to Eska doesn't really bother me because like it's okay to have a crazy ass female character. That betrothal necklace was hilarious.
Crazy is so gendered though. But also, like, when Mako...
But Varric's crazy too. I mean, like...
And so but also, I feel like... Sorry.
The brother, Desna.
But I feel like they don't talk about Desna, though. It's all about Eska. And, like, when Mako's talking about a blood-sucking leech, he's not really talking about Asami, but he had, like, his only other girlfriend experience is Asami, and so we know Asami has, like, she's a layered character. She's great. She's dynamic. Eska, though, she's such a type, and that type is scary, crazy girlfriend. And there's no way, there's no nuance to argue around that or to challenge that in any way. And so
No, you're right.
yeah, and so when they specifically use crazy girlfriend twice, it's, oh, I feel that ghost hand, move over me, and I don't like it. I want to swat it away.
Yeah. I mean, I guess the reason why it doesn't bother me as much with Eska is because it's unnuanced, because it's not like they're reducing her to anything that her behavior hasn't, there, so far at least, there aren't that many layers to Eska, she's nuts. And that's fine. But like, I guess, if it would be something a little more, if it would be Asami or whatever, and again, whatever. I don't know if it's worth arguing, because I don't disagree with you. It just, yeah, I don't know.
Just saying, it didn't terribly distract. It didn't distract me. I felt it for the first time.
Yeah, I hear that.
Anything else happened this episode?
Mako and Korra going on the plane as the plane's booster rockets is pretty cool.
That was
cool.
I noticed.
But hang on.
What?
Oh no, I was just confused. Was that one of Asami's planes?
No, it was Varric's.
But then why does he need planes?
He said it's because in case the ship sinks.
No, I know, but like, if he can make his own planes, why does he need Asami's planes?
That's a good question. Maybe
Asami brought it down for him as a gift.
Oh, good idea. Yes.
Because she knew how to fly it exactly.
Yeah, maybe she doesn't have the patent for it. Now he does. Damn. I don't know. She said well, then again, like, early in the episode, she said that she was there to seal a deal with Varric, so maybe she already sold the planes to him. And so he put one on his boat without a runway. There is a nice little detail when the boat takes off, it disappears from the frame. You hear the water splash as it touches down and then takes off. I like that.
I actually have thought that the sound design has been brilliant, and that's such a small thing, but like in episode 2, like when Korra's walking through the spirit oasis whatever thing, like, and she's going up the things and then she like skids down, the sound is different. I didn't notice that, but it doesn't surprise me because I think it's been amazing.
Yeah, it's always been great.
Asami was really cool I mean, she's always cool, but I really liked her in the scene where Bolin was like, what do I do about Asuka? She's like, oh my god, you guys are idiots. I'm so glad I'm not with Mako. I'm transposing some of that on here, but
don't let her treat you like that. I was like, that's good. I like that she's giving him good advice. But I mean, I didn't think that they would have survived jumping off that airplane. I think they would have smashed that ocean like concrete. But, whatever. That's when my intoxication became really apparent to me, because everything was happening so fast. Literally, it felt like frames were missing at the end where Korra's like, jump! And they jump, and then they're on the boat, and then they're smashing through, where's my dad? And then they're with the dad, and then we gotta get out of here, and then they're jumping on the boat. Like, everything was happening so fast, and I was like, oh my god, I need to stop. Oh, it was I can't say I like it very much. I feel like at the end of the season, this is going to be in the very, very bottom of episodes, unless the season just keeps going downhill, in which case I'm going to be really upset. Oh.
They can't do that to us. We have put so much time into this series.
Do you ever have that fear that it's just going to keep getting worse?
Katie, I live with that fear.
Like season 3 and 4 are going to be just unintelligible.
It can't be. Avatar was so good.
Maybe all their creative juices were pumped into Avatar, and now they're just running on fumes. I refuse to entertain that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
I want to dignify that.
Ugh, no, I can't. And you know what? Whatever. I have no explanation in that I was expecting to be odd from the word go, and I'm not. And I my hopes are really honestly pinned on the second half of the season at this point. Not that I hate this. I don't. It's not horrible. It's just that, if this was season 1, this would not, I mean, I was crazed about season 1, and if this was season 1, I would not be crazed.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Mm-hmm.
The tension is not where it needs to be.
Yes.
The tension feels muddled and unfocused, and we don't know what we're supposed to care about. But I mean, I'm still enjoying myself immensely. I still get stoked for Friday night, 7 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, clearly they still have a story to tell. You know, it's not like they don't.
Mm-hmm.
Something that I think Patches mentioned on Republic City Dispatch or somebody, I don't know, whatever. That I hadn't noticed at all, but that going back to Juan's statue in the statue room, he has those like light scarves around him. I'm calling,
Mm-hmm.
like the stuff that Unilock makes when he's spirit
Yeah.
bending.
Yes.
He has that, like, or at least it looks like, in wood around him, and that's like very interesting.
But we never did get an explanation for what the hell Unalak is doing.
Right, exactly, that too. Ugh.
He's bending water, but it glows because
Reasons. That's why.
reasons. But Korra could kind of do it when she tried without any instruction.
That really bothered me. I wouldn't care if we didn't have an explanation, if only Korra couldn't do it yet.
Yeah. I mean, she tried, and it looked like for a minute she was going to get it, but it broke.
But how does she know what to do?
I don't know. It doesn't seem like something you could just observe and then try, and she did.
Especially because he wasn't like, I mean, maybe partly was the music that made it seem different, but like it didn't look like he was ordinary standard water bending.
Right. And nobody but the Avatar is supposed to be able to spirit bend. Whatever. I feel like
maybe he's just using it with some spiritual power. I mean, like, he's not the only person besides the Avatar isn't the only person who has spirit bending. I mean, like, there's that guy in the swamp who's communing with the seaweed or something.
yeah, I guess. Guru Pathik was very spiritual, even if he wasn't a bender.
Yeah.
Whatever, he no longer interests me. Moving on, I'm so glad we are going back to Republic City. So done with Southern Water Tribe. That was I was watching the Nostalgia Critics reviews of season 1, and he got really frustrated with being locked into Republic City, and I really, really miss being in the city. I feel like that was home territory. I liked that there was so much opportunity to go to different places in the city. I like that we weren't globe-trotting like Avatar, and now I'm just like, yes, take us back. I want to see the Pro Bending Arena. I want to see Air Temple Island. Let's go home.
Mm-hmm.
I feel fatigued. It's like, we've been on vacation. Let's please just, I want to go back home.
Take me back to season 1, please.
Season 1, Mihal, we've both said this before, it gets better and better each time you watch it.
Mm-hmm. It really does.
And I hope that's not because season 2 has lowered our bar.
No, it hasn't. I mean, I said that before season 2.
Yeah.
It just feels like this always happens. You know, like, I watched Avatar the first 2 seasons, one after the other, and then I found it in the middle of that hiatus, and I was so excited for season 3. And to this day, season 3 has never come close to season 2 for me. I know some people think it's better, but like for me, it's never come close.
Oh no, season 2 is the best.
Yeah, and I feel like it's the same thing, and I was scared of this while I was like anticipating season 2.
It could just be, maybe I'm getting it wrong, but I feel like in television, isn't there what they call like third season slump, or is it second season slump?
I thought it was the sophomore slump.
Sophomore slump. It could just be that this is like we'll look back when all the 4 seasons are done, it'll be like, oh, this was kind of the soft spot on our nice red apple.
It totally could be. And I mean, I am cheered by the fact that they have other seasons ahead, because, I mean, they're not idiots, you know?
Yeah.
I feel like maybe it's similar in that it's like, it's sequel syndrome, where you just like, the first, superhero movie, you had 1 villain, so now let's give him 3! And this is like, let's just throw everything in there, and it's fine. Like, it's not that I'm not interested. I am interested in most of these elements.
Yeah.
But
I mean, it also could just be that, like, the chemistry that was there, because, it's a confluence of a lot of people coming together with different ideas. People who are doing the music and the writers and the animators and stuff, and sometimes the chemistry that you had once is just off one year.
Mm-hmm.
Or just never comes back.
That would explain it if it was about the Studio Mir thing, because, like, didn't they outsource, like, half the episodes to Studio Pierrot?
Isn't the latter half of this season all Studio Mir?
Yes.
Alright.
And the rest of the series, I think.
Good, because, I mean, like, just what you said about the Studio Pura and then just nobody blinking. I think it just
I mean, it's still really good.
yeah, but like just compared to like
last season.
yeah.
I mean,
And
last season,
Studio Mir is just amazing.
I still think of, like, when I think of the high watermark for last season, I think of Mako and Korra in episode 3 fighting the Equalists, and there's that camera
Yes.
that circles around as they're all running towards each other. It was just jaw-dropping. Like, even with the expectation of how great animation was in Airbender, I had no reason to expect anything that good. And it was, and nothing since then has really wowed me the way that sequence did, even though, everything has been really, really good. And this season has just been less good.
I see. Well, besides the fight with the Equalist in episode or in the Revelation, I think the oh man, the best was probably like the just all of episode 6 in general.
Yes, the fight on the top of the
Yes, and also just like I can just watch that clip of Korra just like freezing the water right when she's off to
yeah.
run. I can right before she's off to do like the water cycle or the water spout. I can just watch that clip all day. It is just so beautiful.
That was something I thought Korra, that they used the miniseries format a lot better, or they used it to their advantage, because in Avatar we had so many amazing sequences, but there's only a few that really stick out in your mind, even though every
Yeah.
episode arguably had an action scene. Whereas Korra, it's like you would go episodes without any big set piece, and then suddenly you get the arena scene, it's like, oh my god!
Yes.
Falling out of your seat.
Yeah, it's almost like there are too many fight scenes this year.
Or
I don't know.
Or they all feel very. None of them has floored me so far. Like, I'm trying to, like, even sitting here, I'm like, what fight scenes have we had that have been great? None.
Oh, the one in the palace in the last episode was
Yeah, that was
great.
good.
Mm.
It was good. It was just we didn't care as much.
Mm-hmm.
First season, fight with the Equalists, arena, Korra versus Tarlok, and then the finale. Or Lin,
Yeah.
taking down the airships. Like, those are the big ones I think of, and they're all so exquisite. And I think that's a product of them coming so far in between, quiet episodes.
Mm-hmm.
I almost wonder if this is and it could be nonsense because I don't know Studio Pierrot, I don't know anything about animation, but I feel like Studio Mir is so in sync with the emotions that are happening. I mean, like the scene where I hadn't rewatched like the last 2 episodes of season 1. So when I watched it just before the finale, the scene where Korra airbends, like it took my breath away. And not even because it was the animation was whatever, but the emotion was so there, and the slow motion, and the just the look on her face, and the way it was
the shock of it.
Yeah, it was, and I feel like Mir knew how to capture the right kind of facial expression, like when Lin is bent or whatever. And I don't know, maybe Pierrot just like it's not the same kind of relationship for them, so it's not. I don't know.
I have the Korra soundtrack for season 1, which is so good. If anyone listening out there hasn't bought it, it's very much worth picking up. But I could listen to the Korra Airbends track over and over and over, because each time I remember that scene, and the emotion is so high, and it's such a slow build up to it, and then just that exquisite pause where she airbends. And you're right, it was. Everything came together in that exact moment, and I don't think I appreciated it at the time, but the more I've reflected on it, it's like, yeah, that was great. Really, truly great.
Yeah. I was just arguing with someone about this online, that they were like, oh, Korra just airbends because she's angry. It's like, oh my god, wow, that went over your head. Like, no. Do you not realize this is the culmination of all of her frustration and her being selfless and whatever? Like, yeah.
Yeah, no, the other thing I've seen Studio Pura anime is Bleach, but I feel that it's an unfair comparison because Bleach is just this long runner anime of like 300 episodes, and then just there's like so much filler that you have to make do and like cut corners.
Yeah, I feel it more in the facial animations this time around, not just because of the not blinking thing, but the static. There's a feeling of staticness there before. And another thing of like animation that wowed me, you're right about the palace fight and her tying that guy up with the rope. And even though I think she was a little off model in the second episode, when she looks really waifish, like she's in the middle of the snowstorm and she's
like what the fuck? I love Korra, and one of the biggest things that I love so much about her, and And then just besides her personality, but like I really appreciate that she's not some wispy waif.
Yeah. And in that scene, she looks
Ugh.
like a witch. She's trying to she's trying to subdue the spirit. And the one
Yeah.
thing I really, even though she does look thinner than she should be, the one thing I did appreciate about the motion in that scene is it really looks like she's being thrown around by the wind, and that she's struggling to lift her arms against it. Like that was one of the few times this season where it's like, okay, I feel the kineticism. Ha.
Yep.
Anybody got anything else? I think we did good without a meme.
Yeah. I think we did more episodes without him than we did. No, that's not true. Can you cut that out, whoever said anything this? I don't ship it, but I could theoretically ship like Varric and Asami because I feel like she would be like equal to him in savvy. Like Bolin is just like so ripe for exploitation, that I couldn't get behind that.
But again, you do ship Stannis with Sansa, so
I do.
I
I don't know why.
No,
I
Stannis
saw
and Jon Snow is worth that.
Yes. Oh my
I saw
god.
one once, and I was like, I saw like on AO3. I guess I was following the Sansa tag, and I was like, it was like Sansa Stannis. I was like, what? No. And then it just like clicked for me. I don't know. That was like an amazing shipping moment.
I think Stephanie and I are in the same boat where we just put Jon Snow with old men. It's like, who do I ship Jon Snow with? Stannis, Mance,
The old bear.
the old no. Korra Half Hand. That was like my first hard on for like shipping. I had Song of Ice and Fire. The whole chapter was like, is your sword sharp, Jon Snow? Like, we both might die. You ever seen a grown man naked, Jon Snow? Like, oh my god, I might have written that fanfic.